What's going on, guys? Rio Capital, and I just want to go over a quick video on the zones and why they're important to me. Now, if for those who don't know, the zones, the Rico Cap zones, are my strategy that I developed and back tested for over the past 2.5 years, and how I got these down to a science. Now, quick overview: the zones, green zone right here, buyers; red zone, sellers. They tell you where the buyers are at, tell you where the sellers are at. And I'm going to kind of just go over why they're so important to me and how I continuously to use them to become not only profitable, but continuously to make money and know where the market's at all times. So kind of just going over Friday and how we ripped out of it. So as we're making new all-time highs, we don't know where new zones, supply zones, sellers are going to form. Once we're at new all-time highs, it's pretty hot air up here. So I like to say we're playing musical chairs, right? We're all in calls, riding it to the top, and when the music stops, just hopefully you're not the one left holding or without a chair. So this is kind of how I love the zones here. So even if you're slamming calls, you're riding it to the top, notice how when it created a new supply here, you could have easily played puts. And I'm not saying you could have done it that day, but this is a prime example of how you can play puts when we get to a supply zone. So once we get to a complete supply zone right here, you could have slammed some puts on the next 15. Notice how we opened up at or under that supply, meaning if we opened up in it, there would have been a little bit more strength, but we didn't. It was a rejection. We did a small wick out of it, if you can kind of see there, but the body opened up and we rejected right out. And if you slam puts right there on some lottos, you're taking that down a dollar move, and you're getting your 10, 20, 30, 40% easy on some lottos. And this is why I love the zones, because even if you play it right, say you waited again, got into some puts when we got into supply, notice how it rejected out again. You could have still made your 10, 20, 30%, 40%, whatever. And that's the one thing I love about these. So you could always make that money, especially if you slam in the demand, push out, you're selling into the move. And I love doing this on the 5 or 15 minute time frame, and as a quicker play for sure. For those that maybe don't catch my trade alerts and maybe don't have time to be trading all day or holding through a move, they can make money fast, doing that right there in 5 minutes, 15 at most right here. So the little things like that. And a key note as well is every time we test a supply or test a demand, it gets weaker. So notice how we got to this and it was immediate to drop out. We got back to it and we kind of fizzled a little bit, still dropped out weaker. We got back into it, meaning we're just eating up these sellers and we're still holding up above here. Now, kind of the game plan going into tomorrow and kind of how you would play this next is, are we going to break above 496.60 up here? And if we do, that's game time to play calls all day. Especially it's kind of the same thing how we did right here. So we broke above, 15-minute candle above, higher time frame above, rocketed right out, and that's exactly what we're looking for, because just the day before it was the same setup, and notice how we just keep climbing there. So very easy. And on the flip side, it's going to be the same thing, right? It's the same thing for sellers. We reject this, we end up dumping. If we end up holding this, or if we say we don't end up holding this, right, and we get that rejection right here, see this candle, same thing, we enter and it slides more back down to this demand. We know this one held but blasted through last time, so expect some buyers to hold it up here and say they fail, and we come right back down here. That's another $3 drop, $2 drop. So little things like that. It's the same thing. We're just riding it up, riding it down with the same levels. And this is why I love the Rico Cap demand, supply zones. It's because I back tested these for over 1.5 2 years, and noticed that these work continuously over and over again. Notice how they're working over and over again. And I don't just mean in the same week. I mean a year later, they will continuously work. These levels do not change. They're not going to change. And I love that about it. So the next kind of part I discovered, or how I needed to back test, was what's the best way to play these option wise, right? Am I playing lottos with it? Am I playing a longer date with it. And that's the thing. Both work beautifully, right? Lottos beautifully. Longer dates for the bigger move beautifully. So it's pretty much up to your preference there. Are you trying to make a faster play? Then you go in lotto. If you're making a longer play and you got time to hold a multi-day kind of thing, you slam some right here, this demand, and you're holding it till tomorrow close. A longer date. There you go, and you're winning. I mean, lottos would have ripped here as well. I think we played some as well that day, but same thing. So kind of how I love the zones, how I use them as my indicator, and how I continuously win with that. So if you like these, you can always get them for yourself, $10 a week, wap.com/Rico Capital. It immediately gives you access to the zones channel in my Discord, and you get the chart and you get my game plan. Above here, slam this option. Under here, slam this option. And it's my literal plans that I go out the next day and do. And these will have you winning in the market if you just follow them. So get it while you can. $10 a week. They will go up in price eventually, but right now they're saving lives, and we're killing it. So appreciate you guys trusting the zones, because that's a big thing. Trust the zones. A lot of times I didn't want to trust the zones. Friday, we opened up above the zones. Sure, we banked. I banked on QQQ calls, and that's the only thing we played. And notice how it just ripped. I was trusting the zones. I didn't want to trust the zones. I mean, I was so skeptical. How much are we going to keep ripping up here? I was like, we have to do it. I mean, and of course, we're up 30, 40, 50% in the first 15 minutes with this candle right here, from 491 all the way up to 493. I mean, easy work right there. And then it just kept going, 495, 496 levels. So no reason to have even stopped out. We didn't even get under this demand. So we rode it, and it was a really good day. And that's the thing. You got to trust the zones. So the more you trust the zones, the more you continuously play the strategy, you're going to win way more than you lose, as long as you focus on the play and not the money, right? When it's time to sell, you sell. I don't care if you bought down here and you're up 400% and you want 500%. I don't know where you would get that number or why you just think 500% up here, but once you hit a supply, I'm selling most out, because we could easily hit it and reject and come all the way down. It happens all the time. When there's sellers, profit takers could step in. Lotto put buyers could step in with the sellers. So, I mean, a lot of things can go and happen and go against you. So, know where the buyers are at, know where the sellers are at, and stay on the winning side of your trade, guys. Keep it simple, of course, and just win. You don't need to overcomplicate everything. Just win. It's super easy. Same thing with SPY here. So get the zones if you need them. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.